The talking drums of Ileodan struck the morning like a warning, rolling through the air with restless urgency. Market women paused mid-haggling. Palm wine tappers froze under their raffia ropes, and even the goats in the dusty square lifted their heads. Something was shifting in the kingdom, an old story rising again from the shadows of fate. In the royal palace, Prince Adetokunbo, first son of Oba Arigba, tightened the beaded cords on his wrists as he stared through the carved window lattice. His heart carried the weight of duty like a stone tied to the wings of a bird. He was 25, strong-shouldered, clean-faced, and crowned with the confidence expected of a future king. Yet, inside him, a quiet rebellion surged. For the prince had fallen in love, and not with anyone the palace council would bless.
Her name was Aderonke, the daughter of a humble basket weaver, a peasant girl who moves through the world with the gentleness of dawn touching still water. Her laughter carried the warmth of sun-ripe plantains. Her mind was sharp, her spirit confident despite her station, and her beauty. Well, even the oracles would whisper her name if beauty were a prophecy. But love in Ileodan obeyed tradition, not the heart. And tradition demanded the prince marry Princess Adeola of Ketu, sealing an alliance older than the forest spirits. The wedding had already been announced. The ancestors had been invoked. Palm oil had been poured. Songs were rehearsed.
So Olori Dudu did what frightened men often do. Yet, each dusk, Adetokunbo slipped out of the palace grounds to meet Aderonke by the abandoned shrine at the edge of the forest. The place was forbidden now, rumored to be watched by an old spirit, but the lovers cared little. They believed their meetings were a harmless rebellion. But someone saw them. Someone whose heart brewed resentment like bitter leaves steeping under the sun. His name was Olori Dudu, a palace chief whose influence had been fading slowly as younger leaders rose. The prince's defiance threatened to undo the alliance he personally championed.
And worse, if the prince married a peasant, the council would blame him for failing to guide the young heir. He forged a lie so carefully woven it glimmered with the illusion of truth. He bribed a frightened messenger boy to deliver a warning to the king that Aderonke was no simple basket weaver's daughter, but the daughter of a known traitor who once plotted to overthrow the throne. The boy trembled as he delivered it, but fear made him believe the threat was real. The king, already anxious about the fragile alliance, grew furious. The drums changed their rhythm. The kingdom held its breath. Aderonke was summoned to the palace.
She stood before the king, barefooted, her wrapper simple, her head bowed yet unbroken. The whole watched her with hawk-like hunger. "Is it true?" the king demanded. "Is your father a traitor?" "My father is dead, but he was no traitor. He was a loyal man who wove baskets and taught me that truth is a cloth that will never tear." The king's jaw tightened. He had no proof, only a whisper disguised as truth. But palace politics fed on whispers. Adetokunbo tried to defend her, but the king silenced him with the raised hand of authority. And Aderonke, heart-wounded but dignity intact, was banished from Ileodan until her lineage could be proven clean. The prince's rage burned hotter than the midday sun. He searched for the source of the lie, interrogated guards, questioned servants, and chased every rumor like a hunter chasing a wounded antelope. But lies were slippery things. They left no footprints. Aderonke disappeared into the forest villages.
Weeks passed. The kingdom prepared for his wedding to Princess Adeola, but Adetokunbo's spirit refused to settle. He felt Aderonke's absence like a missing drum in a festival rhythm. At last, he made a decision that would echo through Ileodan for generations. He abandoned the palace on the eve of his engagement and went in search of the truth. He traveled through villages where his father once lived. He met elders, hunters, widows, and travelers.
Every single person spoke of her father with respect, but none of them knew who started the rumor. Then, in a small riverside village, he met an old blind man who sold carved flutes. The man listened to Adetokunbo's story, fingers tracing the flute pattern like reading a forgotten memory. Ah, the old man murmured, "A lie is like smoke. It rises. Find the one who benefits from the fire."
A door opened in the prince's mind. He returned to the palace in secret. He hid behind pillars, slipped through courtyards, and listened. And one night, under the moon that made the palace roofs glow like silver, he heard Olori Dudu boasting drunkenly to a junior chief. If the prince had married that peasant girl, the alliance would have crumbled, and so would my influence. Sometimes a kingdom needs a story, even if it's not true. The truth struck the prince like thunder. He stepped from the shadows. The hall froze. Olori Dudu tried to flee, but the guards seized him. The king was summoned. The liar confessed, his trembling voice echoing in the stone hall. The king turned to his son, guilt clouding his old eyes. "I believed a lie, and in doing so, I banished truth."
"To bring you home," he said. "I no longer belong to your world," she answered. But the prince knelt before her, heir to a throne, kneeling in dust. "I did not fight hard enough for you," he said, "but I will now, not as a prince, but as the man who loves you." Her breath trembled. The villagers watched as the sun dipped, bathing them in gold, as if the sky itself held its breath. At last she touched his cheek. "I will return," she whispered, "not because you kneel, but because you rose to find the truth." When they returned to Ile-Odan, the people rejoiced, for even kingdoms love a tale where love triumphs over deceit. The king annulled the arranged marriage. Princess Adiola, relieved, admitted she too had no desire for a union without love. And Adironke was welcomed, not as a peasant, not as a stranger, but as the woman who taught the kingdom that lies may travel fast, but truth always arrives, even if on weary feet. In time, she became queen. A queen whose wisdom softened even the hardest chiefs. A queen who rebuilt trust in the land. A queen whose story became a fireside tale. And thus, in Ile-Odan, the story lived, the prince, the peasant, and the lie. A reminder to every ear that heard it,